jungle. I hope by now all of you have found your Cider Fest treasures. There's still some hiding in trees, but if you went out this weekend, you should have found apples, Cider Fest t-shirts, candy, all hiding in fruit trees all over the city. We are really, really sad to not be able to have Cider Fest this year. This is our birthday party that we'd normally have. It's the reason that Concrete Jungle exists, is this big, crazy cider pressing party out in the field. But since we couldn't all gather this year, we wanted to bring Cider Fest to you in a socially distanced way. Which is why we're here now with the amazing, illustrious, esteemed Marcus Kyle. Who's going to teach us about cider pressing at home.
Oh, hello. Oh my God, we have a big board here in the studio. I can see all your faces. Wave to me as I'm waving to you. Excellent, great to see you guys. Let me introduce myself. I'm Marcus Kyle. I'm the famed and fortunate husband of Nicole Fields. Everything I do tonight, she has signed off on. All the words I use, she signed off on as well. Great. Happy you guys. Hey, very live. Okay, so to tell you a little bit about me, I was just a simple boy. My dad planted apple trees. I grew up with cider. Not true at all. I didn't grow up with cider at all. The first time I had cider was at Cider Fest 2 years ago. I took the first sip of it and was like, wow, this is really good. And then somebody who may or may not be a Concrete Jungle employee came and poured a bunch of whiskey in my drink. And then I tasted that and I was like, yes, this is the dish for me. And it's been in my life ever since. So today I have the pleasure of sharing with you how to make delicious apple cider out of tree nuts, apples. So let's jump into it. What you're gonna need are things you probably have around your kitchen. A food processor is a must. If you have a blender, that could work. It honestly just depends on how quickly or hard you can chop down, because you're gonna have to get it down to a pretty mashy consistency. You're also probably gonna need a knife and a cutting board. You're gonna need, going back here, you're gonna need some cheesecloth or another straining material. You're gonna need a colander. I like to use a colander. This one is a maybe, and you're gonna need a bowl. You're gonna need a couple of them. And you're also gonna need a pot, all right? Maybe like a wooden spoon or something. All this stuff will become relevant in a second here, but that's generally what you're gonna need. Your main ingredient, however, is going to be one very special thing, an apple, a cute, small little apple. I don't know how many of you guys are out there right now, so it's so weird to me, but please, I want this to be less of Martha Stewart and more of just everybody hanging out on the couch together. So, talk in the chat, say things back to me. I can totally hear it. We have these big speakers set up in the studio, so if you say something, I'm gonna be able to hear it. Anyways, let's talk about these apples. If you've ever heard of the term cider apple, it's kind of like baking apple or baking pear. A cider apple is an apple that you're not going to want to eat. They found that's actually how cider started way back in history times and medieval time, whenever that was. We've got our fact checkers working on it right now. Whenever that was, they tried these apples. They were like, these are gross. And then they were like, well, what if we press them? And unfiltered pressed apples were called cider, and filtered is called juice. Well, that evolved and developed. The Romans are actually who perfected apple cider making, and they are the ones who started putting some liquor in it, and that's when it really got crazy, because you know how crazy those Romans were. And so that's how we get to today. Nowadays, we're going to use a variety of apples today. Anything that you get in your local grocery store, your Walmarts, whatever. I like Gala apples a lot. But you can do your sweet tangos, you can do your opals. A Tartar apple is going to give you less juice, but it's going to be obviously more sour, which is going to be different for you. Gala is a little bit more bland, but please feel free to experiment. So at this point, we're going to get started actually, so I can stop freaking talking. And I want you in the chat, all you people out there, to put what your favorite apple variety is. And let's make fun of those people who say Macintosh. Okay, does my cameras want to get a little closer to me so they can see this? So we're going to start off with how we chop these apples, okay? As you can see, I've quartered them. That's probably the best thing to do. So I usually go half, then I hit another half, right? You can also hit the half, and then you can go this way, half. I'm teaching you how to chop apples. I know this is the part that you're most interested in. Yeah, quarter is probably fine, and honestly, just depends on what device you're using to get these things down. You can do it smaller if you think you're going to be using a blender that doesn't have like a lot of power to it. Some of it's like not copying them. Try and fail, whatever that phrase is. Try and fail, and then you try again. So I've already went ahead. My great assistant has already gone ahead and chopped down these apples. So you can do them this size too. If that works. And at the end of the day, if you have a strong enough food processor, you could probably put them in there whole, but just don't burn your house down. Okay, this is very fun, by the way. I would suggest you do this. This is probably about 6 apples. I tend to do about 6 apples per go of this process, and then I start over again. Depending again on the size of your apple processor and your forearms, which you'll find out in a second, will determine how many apples that you want to use. Okay, so we've got our chopped apples. Typically what I would then do, let's get our handy dandy food presser. And make sure the food presser has these little stickers on the bottom, because I like making that noise. But more importantly, it's safety. Okay, I may have had a shot of fireball. Okay, so you're gonna take your apples, most likely in your hands, because if you don't, you're bleeding. And I know you guys are farmers. So you're gonna take them in your hands, you're gonna smell them, and then you're gonna put them in there. Don't let anybody catch you smelling them though. And you're gonna pop it on there. I probably should have showed you this. These blades, I just have this guy on there. You don't need any special attachment. Oops, and I have to dump these up. Awkward. Okay, and again with your hands, put them in there. Little fresh cut apples. Okay, anyways, lock that up tight, make sure that it's plugged in. And then I do the slice shred. You want to get it as small as possible. All right. Now we thought ahead, we're not dumb, so you're just gonna go in your fridge and you're gonna get your apple mash, right? Yours is probably in your oven, but mine happens to be in the fridge. So this is kind of the consistency that you want. Can both cameras get real nice and close and get that? Now I probably would have mashed this a little bit more, but I ran out of time. What you want is a nice like applesauce consistency. Right? You don't want tiny cut up apples, right? Like if you both zoom in on this is tiny cut up apples. You're not gonna get any juice out of that. You need to make sure you're seeing some brown and you're kind of seeing the juice begin to form, right? Now your question is gonna be, do I like that sound? I do like that sound. But the better question is, how long should I spin these apples? It's a really wide margin of error, right? If you don't do it enough, you're gonna be pushing and squeezing and you're not gonna get any juice. But if you do it too much, then you're gonna literally end up with juice. That's apple juice. The two differences nowadays, if you think about it, are juice is like if you were to just do the apples all the way to liquid, and cider is if you more like press them. This process kind of blurs that line a little bit, but it's fine, okay? So as long as you're getting to this consistency, you're fine. Again, it's a wide range. Tartar apples are going to be less mushy, like your Granny Smiths, and juicier apples or softer apples, like your Gallas and your Macintoshes, are going to be a little bit juicier and they're going to produce more juice quicker. Okay, so what I would do next, I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this next step. I feel like I was supposed to stop for a quiz at some point already. All right. So go ahead in the chat. If you own a cheesecloth, I want you to say cheesecloth. If you don't own a cheesecloth, then I want you to stay quiet because you're basic. Okay. So these are 2 kinds of cheesecloths. This one's got like the wider holes, if the cameras can see that, and this one's more like a burlap sack. Okay, a little bit more strong of a material. They'll both work, but it also depends on how hard you are mashing your apples. That's not weird, how hard you're mashing your apples. Because if you'll see in a second when we do the squeeze, we're actually gonna test this and see if that works. What I have, the situation I have here is I've got a bowl, I've got a colander, something with some holes, and I simply do this in case your cheesecloth has diarrhea and it squeezes out some stuff that you don't want. It's gonna catch it. And the bowl is obviously to catch your yummy, yummy cider. I simply drape my cheesecloth upon the colander as such, and then I simply spread the ooey gooey, yummy, whatever in here. And I'm gonna save some of this in case this cheesecloth totally fails on me. That'd be embarrassing. So where are you guys from? You come here often? Can I buy you a drink? Is gin okay? Anyways, you can see we're already getting juice. That's what you want. You want that little drip drip? Yeah, get real nice and close. My camera's got all creepy all of a sudden there. See what they do? That's exactly what you want. It's like an udder. It's like an udder. It's like Tom Green. All right. So you're gonna squeeze it. So yeah, as I feared with this cheesecloth, it might work. So the first thing I usually do on my squeeze is I'm gonna do a little bit of that. A little bit of that. Yeah. You guys liking that? Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna do a little bit of this. I'm just gonna get it tight and just do a normal squeeze. That's gonna get most of my juicy juice going. You wanna knead this girl. She's sweet to you. Okay, so you want to knead her out. Now, when this starts to give up on you, then I hit the twist. And that's going to compress it down. Now I'm starting to get leaks in this cheesecloth because it's so holy. But I'm going to start to do a little bit like that, and you're going to keep that squeeze on. Ooh, see, now we got some rippage. I just heard some rippage. My cheesecloth farted. Anyways, we'll just keep going. You want to just squeeze it? Yeah, this cheesecloth is gonna go. It's gonna bust. See, this is what I call. See that right there is what I call cheesecloth diarrhea, because I'm losing my mash. That's not what you want. You don't want to lose the mash. Okay, but you want to just keep doing this. Tell you what, I'm gonna ditch this cheesecloth. We're gonna go over to this one. I'm gonna show you a different way. So this is just one big thing of cheesecloth. Mine happens to have holes right in the middle, but don't worry about it. You just diamond it up. And blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Same process for those of you who need to see things twice. Wife. Okay, and then you're going to get those going just the same way. Like I said, you're gonna hit the squeeze. Oh, look at that. Is that not satisfying? Like when you had Taco Bell or Chipotle. Okay, and then it's giving up on me now, so you're gonna hit the twist. Get that twist and shout. It's gonna give me a little bit more. And then I just like to knead it. Just knead it. See? Like a pimple or a boil. I just knead it. And it just keeps coming out. It just keeps coming out like that stuff that comes out of pimples. Okay, so here's a good place to talk about yield crazy. Some of you are farmers, I'm sure you are familiar with it. You don't want to get yield crazy, okay? You can squeeze all the juice out of this, but at the end of the day, you know, the more you squeeze, the more you get, but don't go crazy with it. You know, you got more apples. There's more apples in the world. What you'll end up with is these apple grounds. Now, this is the where you need to jump on it. Don't let them see this, because otherwise it'll end up in your freezer for the next 8 months. Why? But otherwise, you can use this to do a whole bunch of different stuff. I think apple leather or something is what she recommended. There's some other stuff. You can compost it. It's pretty dry and pretty nasty, but you can also just throw it away or recycle it, feed it to your cat, and it gets everywhere. So, anyways, moving on because we're in the lull now. Okay, here's what you'll end up with: this beautiful cider. That's exactly what you want. Okay, and the next step in my process is I put it in a pot. if you guys want to come around, so we're a little bit closer. You guys close enough, don't hurt yourselves. And I pour it into a bowl, or excuse me, into a pot. And this is where we talk about that other stuff that you can put onto it. Hopefully there's enough light here. Today we're gonna be using dragon fruit, and we're gonna be using fine dragon fruit and
Pineapple guava.
pineapple guava, thank you so much, house. Pineapple guava, these are great. Any kind of citrus works. Mix and match, try different things. There's a lot of cool fixings, but this is the stuff that I like to do it. If we were doing it traditionally with a press, we would just throw these things into the press and we would get it at the end of the yield. But in this case, we don't. Oh, I forgot to get, can somebody find me a spoon? And while we look for a spoon, put this in the chat. Which one of these apples is not real? You have Beverly Hills, Fuji, Utah, or Hawaii. Which one of those is not a real apple variety? While you guys work on that, I'm gonna work on this. I typically, first I hit the squeeze again, work on the forearms, and then I like to scoop all the innards out, and then I throw the whole peel in there. The reason why you wanna do that is you wanna multiply the surface area that these have to like leak into your cider. If you just if you cut them and throw them in, they'll do the same thing, but you'll get a little bit more flavor if you do more of the surface area. That was well spoken. Nicole Fields, that's what I like. Okay. So you're gonna put a couple of these in, blah, blah, blah. Then you can use a whisk. I can use a whisk or a masher or a spoon and just try to break those bits up a little bit and stir up. Do you guys wanna come look into the pot? That's how it's looking. It's looking good. Okay, once you're at this stop, you're gonna be tempted to just eat it. But I'm going to recommend that you boil it first, okay? Put on a nice boil. What that's gonna do is it's gonna bring some of the impurities out. It's gonna make it foamy on top. It's gonna let that other citrus kind of settle into it. It's gonna ferment it. Those are all the things it's gonna do. We're not doing any of that, but I like doing it. Okay, and then it's totally boiled long enough. Now in real life, you're actually gonna boil it. If you guys want to come back and follow me back over here, ooh, this pan is already hot. You're going to, once it's boiled, by the way, watch it because cider does this thing where if it hits a certain boiling point, it will literally explode out the top of your pot. It's happened many times. You're gonna be washing the stove down. Don't do it, keep an eye on it. I strain it to get all that icky stuff, all the stuff that's come out of it, and all the fruit stuff. And I go right into the mason jar, okay? I'm not gonna pour all of it, because you guys escape the drift. Okay, and there's your done, pretty much done cider. Now what are we gonna do with it next? You asked. Kathy, I see you, Kathy. Get off your phone, okay? You can ball it up like that, throw it in your fridge. How long will it last? I don't know, I've never, no cider has ever spoiled in our house. I will tell you that right now. But leave it in there as long as you want to. Probably as long as you leave apples in there until some fuzzy stuff grows. The other thing you can do is obviously drink it right away. Now we get into more of a delicate phase. How are you gonna drink it? There's so many options. Are you gonna put it in a nice wine glass and be classy about it? Or are you just gonna be like, you know, morning Meg and just throw it in your coffee cup? Probably don't even wash out the stains and you just go for it? Or are you gonna be, or are your parents over and you're gonna serve room style? Okay, but regardless, you can put it in any of these glasses. I personally like the mug because it makes me feel dirty. And that. What can you put in it now? It's already super flavorful. You've already got some good stuff in it. Cinnamon sticks, classic. Throw a whole cinnamon stick in there. That's real cute. You can also, oh look, I made garnishes. I don't do this at home, just for you guys. Put a little garnish on there. Maybe a little umbrella, you know, whatever it is. Oh, but let's not forget the most important ingredient, handle a fireball. If you don't have one of these, then who are you? No, seriously though, it doesn't have to be fireball. Bourbon's great. I've been experimenting lately because we ran out of bourbon. Whiskey's great. Brandy is really smooth. Tequila, if you're feeling a little crazy and you don't have limes, maybe. Gin, if you're disgusting. What else can I tell you before we jump into some Q&A? Hopefully there's time for some Q&A. Yeah, I think we do. If you have questions, go ahead and start putting them in the chat now. All right, so you're gonna put some of that in. While I'm using this fireball. I'm gonna put a little bourbon in there, a little bourbon. I also do a version for parties where I'll do a big mix and then I put cinnamon sticks, allspice, cloves, put some nutmeg, a little coriander, pretty much anything you put in a cookie except sugar. You can put a little bit of brown sugar in there if you want it to be sweeter. Although I don't think it needs it. You can serve it that way in a big pot. I made that once upon a time and all of Nicole's friends drunk it all. Yeah, you can tell how I feel about that. But yeah, that's your completed cider right there. Okay. So
how's it taste?
it's not that great because of the fireballs. No, I'm not a fan of that. Generally, it's pretty good. You know what? Just who's on this call? No. Hire me. Do we have questions?
We need to know the answers to the polls. Which of these apple varieties does not exist? Ballyfattin, Bismarck, Bourbon, or Baldwin?
Okay, so Ballyfattin are from England. Bismarck is, I think, U.S. It's bourbon, y'all.
Everybody was right.
Oh my God, are you serious? They all got that right?
Yep.
Shocking.
Which of these apple varieties does not exist? Beverly Hills, Fuji, Utah, Hawaii.
If y'all have ever been to Hawaii, you know the Hawaii apple is all over the place. So it's definitely Utah.
No one got that right.
What did you guys say? You said Beverly Hills?
Beverly Hills and Hawaii.
No, Beverly Hills is an apple.
Which of these apple varieties does not exist? Jupiter, Saturn, Orion, Enterprise.
This is a fun one. Oh, you're asking waiting for me to answer.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Orion. Orin is an apple variety. Orion is not.
Oh.
What was the results on that?
50-50 Saturn, Orion.
Ooh,
So.
Whoever said Saturn, do your apple homework. Is there any questions on the actual process of cider? I think that was pretty straightforward.
No questions in the chat.
Do you guys have questions about my personal life? Anything like, no? Okay, well.
Tell us more about your wife.
Play us out here. You
Yeah.
guys have to suffer through this. But really though, I really want to appreciate you guys so much for coming to the class. Cider Fest was always something that was really important to me, so I saw this as an opportunity to give back. I'm so glad that you guys are going to be making cider in your homes. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions at marcus@marcus.l.kyle@gmail.com. But yeah, it's been trying times the last couple of months, and I think more than anything, we need to lean on each other. Sometimes in a life, oops, starting over. Sometimes in a life, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be you carry on, for it won't be long till somebody to lean on. I should not make that fireball shot. So call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. Oh my god, I choked. Oh my god, what a choke on the ukulele. Are we still recording? Why are you guys watching this?